Hey guys, welcome back to the series, How to Use PoiZone, and this is video 6, and today we're talking about the envelopes, which is going to be this envelope section here, and also the amplifier envelope. So first off, the amplifier envelope is going to be your main envelope for the entire sound. So when we hit notes by default, it's going to be an on-off, and then here's your attack value, so you increase the slider to kind of give it that ramp in from 0 volume to the maximum volume. So the longer the fade in, you're going to want to raise this bar here. Then we have our decay, and then our sustain, and then our release as well. All right, so let's bring in a little bit of more unison, and then keep in mind, whenever you're adding unison from a default patch, the default polyphony is going to be 16 voices. So if we have 16 unison, then it's going to be difficult for the synth to play all those notes if you have a chord or something like that. So it's going to sound weird. You might think something's broken, but it's actually this polyphony. So select this, bring this to 64 or 32, depending on your computer, and probably bring the gain down a little bit. And then it sounds kind of normal again. So moving on from that, that's how the amplifier envelope works. Pretty straightforward. Attack, decay, sustain, release, and they're just sliders on this synth. And if we go to an options reset program, let's talk about this envelope here, because this is really a more so interesting concept here. So if you're familiar with the different synths or different FL synths in general, this envelope is basically a user customizable envelope that you can then send to different parameters to follow the function that you set your envelope as. So if that's confusing, let's go to the cutoff here, which is by default. So if we have our saw wave here, and let's bring our cutoff all the way maybe 16-17%. So we've cut up most of the stuff. Now let's bring our amount. So this is going to be how much of the envelope is affecting that parameter. So bring this all the way to 100 for this example, and then we'll use this attack to kind of notice when it's going to happen. Now you play that and you're like, well, that just erased my cutoff, but not necessarily. If you bring this attack up, this attack slider is now telling the filter how long it's going to take for the filter to go from this selection here all the way to the left at like 16 or 17, all the way until it's open. If you want to do it faster, and make it obvious, let's crank some resonance. And then the release is basically the opposite of the attack, and obviously it's like the attack, decay, sustain, release. So it's following that curve and how to move that cutoff value. And if you want to do like a different kind of sound, if you want to do it backwards, so the filter is going to close. So once you hit a key, the filter is going to be open, and then it's going to kind of sweep downwards. So we'll put this cutoff over here to the opposite side, and let's invert this and bring this amount down. And we can see how if we have more resonance, so that's basically just the opposite way to do that. Now there's a lot of cool different ways that you can map this. You can map this to the frequency. Or the pulse width. So it's an interesting sound, all in it together. But with some little envelope changes here and a decent ADSR on the amplifier, it can sound kind of full a little bit with only one voice. So if you added more voices, let's go to maybe like 16, but also change this polyphony again down to 64. So that's the envelope in a nutshell. Definitely recommend for you to play around with a different frequency A, B, pulse width A and B, because you can get some really cool results, and you don't have to just rely on the cutoff, because you can use that for an LFO, or you can automate it yourself if you right click and create the automation clip. So it might seem like it's kind of like you want all these options and you want to do this and this and this, and that's a good thing, because I think that's what helps this synth make you grow as a sound designer and making different kind of patches, is that you will eventually come to a point where you've exercised most of the options available to it and you start to really understand how it works, and then you're going to be ready for maybe something a little more complicated, citrus harmor or something like that. But that's in no means to say that this is a bad synth. It's just a little bit more focused on quick results, a little bit user friendly, and you're not going to be lost in pages and graphs and this and that, because generally what you're seeing on this synth is everything that's on there, so it makes it easier in that sense. So thanks for watching. In the next video, we're going to be talking about this arpeggiator, which is very cool in its own right. So hope to see you on the next one.